Federal government provides $200 million to fund young entrepreneurs to combat youth unemployment. In international news, heavy damage in Louisiana after Hurricane Laura landfall. And in sport, Rivers United rejects NFF's report, heads to the Court of Arbitration for Sport.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. 2 persons are dead today in Lagos after the helicopter in which they were traveling crashed into a building. Another person was hospitalized. Director General of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Dr. Oluemi Oke Osaitolu, said the private helicopter crashed just around midday in the Okpebi area of Ikeja, to which site his agency had deployed emergency respondents. He said the 2 deceased and the injured were the 3 persons on board the ill-fated helicopter. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 296 new cases of coronavirus in the country on Thursday, while 1 fatality was reported from COVID-19 related causes. 445 others have recovered and were discharged. 16 states and the Federal Capital Territory chalked up all the cases, with Plateau posting the day's highest number, 85 new cases. Enugu reported 46. One has to look down on the list these days to find Lagos, which used to be the state with the highest number of cases. Good news again for Lagos on Thursday night. It came 4th with only 21 cases. The first index case was confirmed in late February. As of Thursday night, the number has climbed to 53,317 infections. Fatalities stand at 1,011. Nearly 41,000 patients have been discharged so far. The country has 11,500 active coronavirus cases across the country. The federal government has rescheduled to next Friday the resumption of international flight operations in the country. The government says it will release a list of countries that would be allowed to fly into Nigeria. This was announced by the Director General of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Captain Musa Nuhu, during the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on Thursday. The DG said the list will be based on the principles of reciprocity, allowing only countries that have not banned Nigerian carriers. The federal government says despite the World Health Organization's certification of Nigeria as polio-free, the country is still being threatened by the disease. The government says it's based its conclusion on the active nature and presence of the disease in Asia. It says the circulating vaccine-derived polio virus still poses a menace on the continent. The federal government says the country's surveillance system must remain sensitive and keep up to the certification standard. Health Minister Osage Ehanire said in Abuja the National Emergency Operations Center will remain active to promptly respond to any emerging disease outbreak. While speaking at an event to mark the eradication of the disease in the country, Ehanire said along with smallpox, WPV would be the second successful eradication of a virus disease from Nigeria in the past 40 years. He said the struggle against polio took so long because of the virus chose to hit the war-torn northeast region of the country, where insecurity made access difficult for health workers. For quite a long time, the Nigerian youth has faced high unemployment in the country, and there seemed to be no way out. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic that has worsened the situation. The federal government has decided to tackle the problem with a $200 million fund for Nigerian young entrepreneurs. Correspondent Phil Hihazi sheds some light on the program.
17-year-old Adesonia Oluwatosin Deborah is making pastries for breakfast. Deborah says she wants to set up a catering business, but she has no money to actualize this dream.
I have a dream to become a very big chef, a well-recognized chef in the world. But the problem is the fund, the money So if I should have the money now, sure, I'll be able to open my own restaurant, a very big one, have my own signature dish, many of them.
At this catering center in Abuja, Deborah joins other young chefs to perfect her baking and cooking skills.
People need to come to this type of training like World Dish Catering Center to be empowered well, not to be going to quacks, so that it does not affect the society, because we train them to become to become international chefs.
Nigeria is home to nearly 100 million young people between the ages of 18 to 35, according to the United Nations. But more than half are without work or are underpaid. As part of ways to help tackle this, the Nigerian government has decided to extend credit facilities to at least 68 million young people with businesses and creative ideas to start up. Experts say this move by the government could go a long way in tackling the problem of unemployment and enable young people to contribute immensely to the country's economy.
We expect that each of the youth given this fund are already self-employed. Once they can start their own business, they also employ others too that will work for them. We also have, of course, a lot of wealth creation. If the youth they are able to use the fund very well, they will be able to produce the local goods and services in a very innovative way. They are more competitive. They can embrace more modern technology to do their businesses.
However, similar empowerment programs for young people have been launched in the past, and critics argue that beyond funding, the government will need to tackle challenges affecting implementation.
The bottleneck we have in this case is the bureaucracy in the process of administering, disbursing, and monitoring this fund. Then the other bottleneck is we don't have a robust training institution in this country that would like to train the youth and prepare their mind towards entrepreneurship. So the training institution need to be empowered also. The capacity of this institution need to be improved upon for them to be able to manage this fund and for this fund to get to the right people with innovative mindset or innovative products.
Authorities say this particular fund will be closely monitored by the Ministry of Youth and Sports and will be disbursed between the years 2021 and 2023.
For millions of young people like these, access to funds for business and the right skill set is something experts say could create a whole new generation of entrepreneurs in Nigeria and lift millions out of poverty.
Coming up, African stories. Zimbabwe reduces curfew, extends hours for business. And later, international news. Heavy damage in Louisiana after Hurricane Laura landfall.
You are watching ANN.
Hey, tell them. They told me you are the best around here.
What can I do for you, sir?
I want my own very, very simple. I don't want any shine. If I see any shine.
Actually, I'd love some sequins on my skirt. And I don't like any frills.
I beg, I want frills on mine, but it must not be too tight.
Tight! That tight now, that is what I want. And the transition.
Oh, you know what? I want a gown.
Me too. I want to come to buy.
You know what GMS and this for coming? Hey, did you capture all the information?
Of course not.
Actually,
fantastic.
I give my customers what they love because everyone has their unique style. So why should they wear the same thing? Just like MTN for me, which gives unique data and recharge offers just the way you like it. Just dial *121# and turn up great offers every day.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Zimbabwe has shortened an overnight curfew imposed to combat the coronavirus pandemic. It has also extended business hours despite rising cases. Correspondent Farayan Wakutuyes tells us the new hours and how this will impact the COVID-19 fight in the country.
Shortened trading hours have been disastrous for business. Listed retailer Edgar's Limited reported declines of 43 and 55.7% in turnover and sales respectively for the first half of the year, attributed to the COVID-19 lockdowns. Other top-end outlets are counting their losses. But the impact has probably been felt more here in the informal sector that's always counted on its capacity to operate outside traditional business hours as an advantage. They have welcomed the additional time to close crucial sales.
It is better to go up to 4:30 than it is to go up to 3. The challenges are still on the public transport, especially where that is still limited. But look, under the circumstances, it's an improvement.
Many here want the restrictions eased further.
The last few days have been promising because we have seen a slight increase in traffic, but there are still many of our customers being blocked from getting into town at police checkpoints since they don't have letters authorizing them to move around. There are people who want to buy our goods but haven't been able to leave their homes since lockdown began.
That's going on almost 5 months, a lengthy interval that's left these traders desperately clinging on for survival. And even if things don't improve, they're unlikely to pack it all in.
Ultimately, if you look at the Zimbabwean typical SME, it's more a lifestyle business. It's about keeping the family alive. So they always find something to do. So a person closes down one operation, they open another. If someone was doing transport and they realize that, or public transport, for example, they realize that avenue is blocked, maybe they're going to deliveries or they're going to something else. So I think what will happen is there will be a lot of shifting.
Despite a surge in COVID-19 cases, Zimbabwe has progressively reopened the economy to enable the majority informal sector to earn a living.
Mali coup leaders say the ousted president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, has been released from detention after being arrested during last Tuesday's military takeover. Keita resigned as president the same day. Mali's international partners, including France and West Africa's regional bloc, ECOWAS, which sent a delegation to Bamako over the weekend to negotiate with coup leaders, had demanded Keita's release. Earlier on Thursday, France Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian told the media the coup will not stop French military operations against Islamic militants active in central and northern regions, but urged a swift transition of power. Mali's military coup came amid growing dissatisfaction with the government's handling of the economy and the jihadist conflict in the north.
When we return, international news. Heavy damage in Louisiana after Hurricane Laura landfall. And later, sport. Rivers United rejects NFF reports, heads to the Court of Arbitration for Sport.
You are watching ANN.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. 6 persons are confirmed killed as Hurricane Laura battered the U.S. state of Louisiana after making landfall on Thursday morning. Though it has weakened, the storm is still dangerous with winds up to 150 miles per hour that are causing severe damage and power cuts to more than 500,000 homes and a chemical fire from industrial plants. U.S. National Hurricane Center has now downgraded Laura to a tropical storm with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour that's producing heavy rainfall. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards says the state has suffered severe damage. He warned residents to stay vigilant. The European Union has agreed to impose sanctions on 20 senior Belarus officials suspected of election fraud. EU says President Alexander Lukashenko is also on the list because of the crackdown on protesters. Consequences may attract a travel ban and an asset freeze. Lithuanian Foreign Minister Linas Lichenvicius has agreed with the decision to add Lukashenko to the list. Czech Republic Foreign Minister Thomas Petricek told reporters at a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Berlin there is an agreement on how the list will be structured. Russian President Vladimir Putin warns he is ready to send police to Belarus if protests turn violent. Ukraine has also cut diplomatic ties with Belarus and has frozen all contacts with the country. It has also joined the EU in condemning the recent elections they said were not free and fair. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has resigned citing health reasons. He said he does not want his illness to get in the way of decision-making. The 65-year-old suffers from ulcerative colitis and inflammatory bowel disease, but his condition has now worsened. Last year, he became Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister after 8 years in office. He will remain in his post until a successor is chosen. Abe is known to be a staunch conservative and nationalist. He is also credited with stimulating growth with aggressive economic policy. He has strengthened Japan's defenses and boosted military spending, but he has been unable to revise the Constitution's pacifist Article 9, which bans a standing army for anything other than self-defense.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow this story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In sport, Nigeria Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick has asked Kwara State Governor to immortalize Super Eagles late striker Ashidi Yakini. Pinnick made the plea during the inauguration of the Kwara State Football House in Ilorin. Yakini scored Nigeria's first ever goal at the World Cup in 1994. He died in 2012 at the age of 48. Yakini bagged 37 goals in 58 appearances, becoming Nigeria's highest goal scorer. He held the record for 22 years. Rivers United has gone to the Court of Arbitration for Sports to seek redress for the controversial Nigeria Professional Football League standing. Rivers earlier rejected NFF committee report that endorsed the controversial final standings of the 2019-2020 Nigeria Professional Football League released by the league management company. NFF ratified the standings that placed Enyimba as champions and relegated Rivers United to third place. LMC applied the point per game model to determine positions for the final league table following the sudden suspension and subsequent cancellation of the league due to COVID-19. Rivers United describes the process as a sham. That is in the news this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a safe and pleasant weekend.